Hello Interverse. Hello. What's up, my tutorial crew? Crypto G here, coming at you with another video tutorial on Lightworks. Just a quick one here. On the last one, I've done a part one, and so I promised you that I would explain all of the tabs in the color correction effect. If you remember, we had this video of this biker, which I've just made a bit longer. I've just turned it into slow motion. And in the first video, we messed around with the gamma here, the gain, and we gave it a sort of kind of grungy look. It was something along the lines of that. Okay, something along the lines of that. I'm not going to do it exactly, but we messed around with that, and we also messed around with the saturation and the contrast as well, so that we could get a nice effect there. Okay, so we went from that to roughly that. Okay, so now I'm just going to reset all of these by clicking the little lines here, which will send me, and then the middle of the color wheels. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the balance tab, and I'm just going to quickly show you that. In the balance tab, we've got black, grey and white here, and we got three little color pickers which we can use to pick colors here to set our white, grey and black point. Okay, but we're not going to use the color pickers. Oops, let me just undo that, Control Z. Okay, what we're going to do is we're actually going to click on the square, and I'm just going to show you how we can manipulate this image using these values. So here obviously we can see that we're manipulating the darkest part of the images, the blacks essentially. It'll get a bit more than just the blacks, but it'll look at the darkest part of the image, and so we can mess around with that, and I can completely change mainly the rider. Okay, and I can even come up here and try and highlight some of that pink on his bike and what have you. Okay, and you can see that moving these sliders also moves the color wheel. Down here we've got L, which stands for hue, saturation and luminance. If we move L, we can see that we actually still move the red and blue here, and also the green, but to a lesser effect because I've hardly moved that. But you can see there all three of them move, and we get new values. And in fact, because I went down to 0, I reset everything. So let me just move that there again. Okay, so I'm going to go to the grey point now and do a similar thing. Maybe I'll take some of that green away, add some blue and red, and then click off that, go to the white, and again, and we can see the black starts off at the left, the grey in the middle, and the whites start off on the right hand side. And so you see we've got quite a lot of control here where I'm affecting the lights. The rider himself isn't really getting affected. Okay, so that's basically the balance tab. Right, so now I just wanted to show you, so we've looked at the balance, we've looked at the main. I wanted to show you the RGB next, which stands obviously for red, green and blue. And I'm just going to close these. Oh, you can't actually close these. Can you close them if you keyframe them? No, you can't. Okay. So we've got gamma, contrast, brightness, and gain. And if you remember, on the main tab, we also have brightness, gamma, contrast, brightness, and gain, with the only exception is saturation, which is left out. Okay, so if I go to the gamma with the main, I could only obviously turn the gamma up and down. Okay, just click on the line to get it back to 0. With the RGB, now I can actually control the different colors within the gamma. So, you know, I might want to do something, hang on, let's see, I might want to do something like this. It's looking a bit purple. Let's make that a bit bluer there. Okay. And then with the contrast, I might decide what I want to contrast. So I want to contrast more the sort of reds there and make that pink on his bike and suits really stand out. Okay. Let's just mess with the blue a little bit as well. Take away some of that. Okay. Again, with the brightness, no difference, and you can see it's just affecting a slightly different portion of the sky, more of a light. More of a slightly different portion of the picture, and it's looking at more of a sky. When we mess with the red, you know, it does eventually get the whole picture. Obviously, if we go extreme. The green, and obviously it's going to take the picture, the colors that you've already set, so hence when I go to the red, it sort of affects the sky, so I can maybe give that a kind of sunsetty look there. Okay, and then obviously the gain, again, you've got, I'm going to put that up because I want it to complement the brightness here. In fact, I prefer to use just gain and not brightness. There we go. And that's that effect there. And if we have a look there, it's a nice little effect. And it's just a different way to color correct. And of course, you can still come here and start messing about with stuff and really get into it. Okay. So now let's move on. I'm going to reset all of these. Okay, so we've seen balance, main, RGB. Let's go to hue, saturation, and value. And hue will basically do what we're doing here with, what we're doing in the balance, but with less control. So we're doing the whole sort of range, and that's going from the light range at 100% to the sort of darker range at close to minus 100%. And obviously we've got saturation. We can really saturate there. Let me just go up to there so I can show you. So we can take it from black and white or to super oversaturated. And then the value itself is about the luminance value. And obviously too much you're going to fog and then white out. But that, you know, that could be an effect you like to do. Just gonna put that back. So look at the hue. You know, you could do something like that. And then with scale, again, that's more of an overall value, because as you can see, you've got bias and scale here. So these are more, you would use these after you've kind of gone through maybe one or more of the first 3 tabs. You would use HSV to just control the entire effect that you've created. Okay, lastly, let's go on to curves. Curves are simple. The bottom of this line here represents the dark. The top of this line represents the light. You can add points by clicking. So I'll take a click near the top here, and you can see I've added a point, and then I can grab that point and I can move it around. Okay, and so you can see I'm brightening and darkening the picture, but I'm taking the light as the lead. So that's what first gets affected, but of course you can see the whole curve is getting affected. So of course I'm still going darker down by the shadows and the middles, but it's the light that's leading it. Now I can take this if I don't like it and I can slide it along. So now I can make it more the middle that's changing, or I can take it down to the bottom and I can say, right, actually it's the shadows that are changing. And of course I might want to say, okay, I'm going to bring that down, but hey, I think those mids have gone down too much, so I'm going to grab my mids and I'm going to push up slightly. And now you can see I've changed the scope of the picture. So the rider is still quite dark, as we can see there, very little detail on him there. But if I push up around him, you see he stays dark, however around him goes quite light. Now we're beginning to lose the sky, so maybe I would come up here, add another point, and I'd bring that down slightly. And of course I want to stay in what we call in range, and that is the footage you have will have a certain amount of information. Obviously this is quite nice footage. It's I think it's 1080p footage, and so therefore it's got quite a lot of information. But if you start messing with these too much, you start pulling it out of range, and instead of giving you a nice even effect, it'll start to look a bit weird and start to fog. Okay, so you know, you've got to use your own judgment with those. I'd probably have it somewhere around, actually probably somewhere around there, starting to look nice, you know. And you can add as many or as few of these as you want. Okay, and you can select them all and delete them if you want, or you can move them all at once. You can see what happens if I move them, and I've just changed the shape there. Just changed the shape. I'm going to just undo that. Undo, which is Control Z, obviously. Or you can right click. You can double click on any individual one that you might want to delete, and as you can see here, I can delete at will. I'll delete that there. Okay, so there you have it. That is the and of course, sorry, so RGB to the left, obviously that's everything. So you saw me affecting everything: red, green, blue. All colors in the universe or on our planet are made up of red, green and blue. So I'm going to just delete all of these. I'm going to select all of them, and I'm going to come down to the bottom right, and I'm going to hit delete. Okay, and that's got rid of all of my curves. Let's see if they'll come back. No, they won't. So it's just given me a line. So I'm going to take the top of the line there, add one there, and drag it down. And there we go. We've got how we started. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my red. And again, I can just affect the reds. You know, there's some reds in these mountains. They're kind of around the mid to dark tones. So I'd say probably at a guess around there. And yes, I can see immediately I'm affecting them. But you know, I don't want to affect anything that side or that side of it, and I just want to do the mountains. Okay, and obviously this is very similar color what he's riding on, so it's going to affect that as well. If I want to pump up the red or take it away. Okay, and just the same with the green, obviously, and the blue. And the blue. Let's go to luminance. Luminance again. This is basically light. Goes from dark to light. From down here we're messing with our shadows, and up here we're messing with our highlights, and in the middle here we're messing with our midtones. But anyway, hope you've enjoyed that. Please leave a like and let me know below what you think of these tutorials, if you'd like me to present them in a different way, if you'd like to learn about anything, if you want them shorter. Yeah, just let me know. Crypto G out.